everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. You're here early. I'm very proud of you. I am also here early. This is the earliest show we've done in possibly years. Quite possibly years. And you're here. You made it. Congratulations. If you're on our email list, you will see that, you'll see the email. You can get all your sources there. If you're not on the email list, I highly suggest you go sign up for it. You can do that at CanaryCry.Party. Just look for the newsletter option. You can also sign up for our text messages. Now, if you're here this early, you probably already get our text messages. But if by some twist of fate or act of God you found yourself here early on accident and you want to do it again, go sign up for the text message alert system, where your best buddy Basil will text you 3 times a week to make sure you never miss a show. Other than that, I don't think there's that many announcements to make, but we are going to be efficient today. It'll be a very efficient show. And so if you would like to become a producer to encourage the efficiency with which we'll be doing the show today, please do so. You know, the nothing's really changed as far as the trends that we've seen in producership. So if you are ready to participate in the value for value model, now is your chance. All right, folks, buckle your seatbelts, stay hydrated, because here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live to tape this April 13th, 2022. This is episode 471, and today, NATOMEGA. And Razzle Dazzle, I am your best buddy Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. We are here early. We are here
so early.
Yeah, so early. So early for podcaster. And,
I know.
And we're
going to
just run through stuff. What are we covering today, Basil?
Well, Gonz, I'm glad you asked, because we've got some interesting developments happening with the Ukraine crisis and NATO, and also some cyber pandemics that we're going to be talking about. Of course, Flippy will be wiggling his way into the show, but we've got some gun control updates. Of course, there was a tragedy over the weekend, or I guess
yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah. I thought it was Monday again. Whoops. Yes, we'll be talking about that, some Bitcoin news, some, just delicious COVID and vaccine news later on in the show, after YouTube is banished from the land, and an admission that for once I was wrong. We'll talk about that later on. And then, of course, we'll be checking back in with the metaverse. Okay, Gonz, well, I think it's time we start off with our lead stories.
Russia.
Wrong jingle.
Wrong jingle.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
This is already going well.
This is good. So let's see. How do we want to do this? I would like to do this first one, and I may want to do the second one. Do you have any opinions about
Zero. I have no opinions. No,
Good.
Go ahead.
Just how we like our news people.
I'll chime in if I have something to say.
Sounds good. This is coming from theguardian.com, but of course it is showing up everywhere. The headline, Sweden and Finland make moves to join NATO. Sweden's ruling party has begun debating whether the country should join NATO, and neighboring Finland expects to reach a decision within weeks, as Moscow warned that the Nordic nations' accession would, quote, not bring stability to Europe. a veiled or not so veiled threat there by Putin. Both countries are officially non-aligned militarily, but public support for NATO membership has almost doubled since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, to about 50% in Sweden, 60% in Finland. Multiple opinion polls suggest Sweden's center-left Social Democrats, led by Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson, said their security review was about more than just joining the 30-nation alliance, adding that the party could decide to apply even without the backing of members. Having stressed at the outbreak of the war that non-alignment had served Sweden's interests well, Andersson said she was ready to discuss the policy in light of Moscow's aggression, and in late March said she, quote, did not rule out joining NATO. Quote, when Russia invaded Ukraine, Sweden's security position changed fundamentally. The party said it was in a statement on Monday. The Social Democrat General Secretary Tobias Bodin said the security review would be complete, quote, before the summer. The question is expected to be a key issue in parliamentary elections due on the 11th of September.
Interesting date.
Interesting connection. Now, here it goes even deeper, Gonz. Finland, which shares a 830-mile border with Russia and, like Sweden, is a NATO partner after abandoning its position of strict neutrality at the end of the Cold War, is expected to outline its decision regarding the alliance before midsummer.
Build a wall!
And it goes it goes on and on and on. Now, there is one little detail here. Both countries have received public assurances from the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg that their application would be welcome, as well as expressions of support from several members, including the US, UK, Germany, France, and Turkey. But the move would almost certainly be seen as a provocation by the Kremlin, whose spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on Monday that the alliance was, quote, a tool geared towards confrontation, and that their possible accession, quote, will not bring stability to Europe, the European continent. So, fun little detail. I'm just going to break it down quick for you, Gonz. There are currently 30 members of NATO, which is more or less the anti-Soviet Union collection of countries in Europe and other Atlantic countries like the US. There are currently 30 members. If we add Sweden and we add Finland, which looks almost certain, I mean, the signs are pointing that if they just slightly nod their head, perhaps even on accident, that they will just suddenly be within the NATO alliance, that would bring it to 32 nation states as members, which would leave, just leaves us so close to the perfect messaging number of we do and do not know who. And that begs the question, Gonzo, who would be the 33rd member of NATO? And
is it Ukraine?
Could it possibly be Ukraine? You know, I think it's interesting that, of course, we've been playing with the idea. We being, I don't know, not you and I, but Biden, other NATO members, world leaders, they've been courting Ukraine for NATO membership for a while, which is one of the precipitating factors to the entire war that's going on now, no matter how much CNN wants you to know that or think that this was an unprovoked aggression by Russia. But I don't think that Ukraine can join NATO until they are the 33rd member. It all come together.
Is the number of completion of the Great War.
Of course, it comes together. And by the way, 33 comes up again later on today. It's a theme
all
that,
over the place, baby.
Yeah. So
messaging is strong. And so I think we can see where this is going. I think we can see just how seriously and deeply this plan has been, pondered and strategized. And the timing is everything.
Yeah.
They said that Finland and Sweden would join this year sometime. But the fact that this would bring the border of Russia against, their total border length with NATO, which is, again, sort of implicitly and explicitly an anti-Soviet / anti-Russia alliance, it would bring the border of NATO and Russia to a little over 1,500 miles. I mean, it's an enormous border. And then Ukraine, of course, would just be the nail in the coffin. There's basically Russia's entire western border would be right up against an explicit military enemy. Yeah. And that makes Putin a little bit nervous, I think.
I think it's pretty clear where the exact tension points of the East versus West World War III is going to be brought about. Obviously, the Ukraine thing. And, it's interesting. I will get into some other topics that also brings up the NBA. The NBA being a very useful tool, the National Basketball Association, for the elite when it comes to different kinds of signaling. But with COVID, it was the big shutdown of the NBA that really caused the beginning of the major lockdowns with everything. But one of the things the NBA does during their All-Star, they've been doing this for a few years, where they pick captains from the East and West of it's the United States / Canada. There's an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference. Each conference gets a team leader, and they do this thing where it's kind of like a playground. They pick teams, Yeah. And I feel like that's what we're doing right now. 2022 is like, all right, World War III, coming to you live in 2023. 2022 is a year to pick teams, and everyone's just kind of picking sides. It's the NATO side and the China-Russia alliance side, So it's just very interesting how it's all, people are just picking sides. So you got to have the tension point. You got to have the teams before we can have the match. And
it's interesting, too. You think about how the teams are already sort of divided up. Mm-hmm. You've basically got Russia and China on one side, and India is kind of playing with, right now, India is leaning in that direction. But besides that, maybe some Middle Eastern countries will have to figure out where they stand.
That's what's interesting. Yeah,
real quick. Right. The last players standing in line, ready to be chosen, considering their options, is Africa. Mm-hmm. Again, and Antarctica.
And Antarctica by extension.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. But Africa being like the key available players. And that's why I kind of think that as we've reported on and discussed and analyzed over the past couple episodes, Russia and China being very aggressive and very generous in their courting of the African continent, I could see it going that direction.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And we'll have to see what happens in the Middle East. And the Middle East is especially Israel. There's a lot of interesting sort of.
They've been holding their neutrality too.
Yeah, so we'll see. I guess it's it's for places like Israel. It's like the highest bidder, right? Mm-hmm. whoever can benefit Israel the most is going to win the bid. So it's just interesting to watch.
And to be fair, Africa is the same way.
The
U.S., the West has abused Africa for so long, economically and politically. But China's been doing the same thing. So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
And with that, I do want to give one more update going on in Russia. I found really fascinating as it pertains to the future of warfare, the future of alignments, and the future. It's all wrapped up in social justice and privacy, and more than anything, the corporate lizard overlords, again, taking their place at the table as almost a war-fighting battlefield. Right. And so let's hit that cyber pandemic jingle, baby.
Russia.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
They all want to share their death.
That was a good one. All right, this is coming from wired.co.uk. The headline is Russia is leaking data like a sieve. You like that, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Yeah.
And it goes like this: names, birthdays, passport numbers, job titles. The personal information goes on for pages and looks like any typical data breach. But this data set is very different. It allegedly contains the personal information of 1,600 Russian troops who served in Bucha, a Ukrainian city devastated during Russia's war and the scene of multiple potential war crimes. The data set is not the only one. Another allegedly contains the names and contact details of 620 Russian spies who are registered to work at the Moscow office of the FSB. That's when we say KGB, the FSB is like the modern version of it.
Right.
The country's, just in case anybody didn't know, the country's main security agency. Neither set of information was published by hackers. Instead, they were put online by Ukraine's intelligence services. With all the names.
Is there a difference? At a certain point, there's no difference, right?
Well,
especially
it's
in the
interesting.
US.
It gets into it. Let me finish this paragraph, and then we can kind of explore what this means. With all the names and details freely available to anyone online, quote, every European should know their names, Ukrainian officials wrote in a Facebook post. As they published the data.
What a psyop, man. This is crazy.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So you've basically, and they will bring it up in this article, but I'm trying to keep it efficient here. You have a government
intelligence agency.
Doxxing
Russians.
people.
I mean, they're spies. They're soldiers.
Sure.
So they're
Spies,
bad people. They're
soldiers.
Putin's pawns, man.
They're the enemy. But still, I mean, in this world where privacy concerns and our data is collected in so many different places, held on so many different databases, so vulnerable to literally anyone who wants to access it. Hackers, of course, have no problem finding all of our personal information and releasing it as a threat and whatever. But for a government to be doxing, over 2,000 individuals, human beings. Now, they may be soldiers, they may be spies, but they are just human beings living in their own country and, working for their country and subject to propaganda. Not that it excuses any war crimes if they are indeed guilty of those. But this is a brand new experience, and it's in the context of war. It's in the context of war fighting. A government is doxing individuals.
And it's interesting too because the context, the way the Wired here is framing it is like, oh, Russia's leaking this data, when in reality it's not only is it Ukraine, publishing it, doxing these Russians, but also, it's we all leak data like a sieve right now, right? So it's like it's something that's already happening to the general public. So it's just fascinating how they form it in a way in the context of war/cyber war here. Yeah,
I mean, and they posted it on Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah,
on Facebook,
very useful.
A government doxed 2,000 people on Facebook. Let me read just a couple more details here for you. Since Russian troops crossed Ukraine's borders at the end of February, colossal amounts of information about the Russian state and its activities have been made public. The data offers unparalleled glimpses into closed-off private institutions, and it may be a goldmine for investigators, from journalists to those tasked with investigating war crimes. Broadly, the data comes in two flavors: information published proactively by Ukrainian authorities and their allies, and information obtained by hacktivists. Hundreds of gigabytes of files and millions of emails have been made public. So now they're doing something interesting here. They are conflating two things. One of them being like an Excel spreadsheet with the name, phone number, address, passport number of individuals, like an actual doxing of individuals, and, sort of like leaked info from organizations, like a WikiLeaks type thing. Right. And they kind of talk about it in the same breath, as if releasing 1 million emails from a corporation who's committing crimes is the same as, posting personal information about individuals.
Right.
And you have this interesting situation where in the name of war, in the name of, everything goes, suddenly the line between like inappropriate doxing of human beings and, true sort of like whistleblowing public interest data. There's two different things, but in this case, they're being treated as the same type of information.
Well, it's war, man.
It's war,
Time
and
of war.
That's what it goes into. I'm going to skip down a little bit, and you can hear what they're saying about it. Quote, when you think about what comes after war, these lists might be a big feature of it, McDonald says. The lists. Ooh, I hate that
the list
word.
war.
It's a list war.
Talk about rumors of wars.
Shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
The lists, if the information they contain is accurate, may provide a starting point for investigators looking into potential war crimes in Ukraine. For instance, a name could be linked to a photo, which is linked to a social media account or footage that places someone in a particular location or event.
Like all social media?
See what they're doing here? They're kind of making it sound harmless.
Right.
At least in this paragraph.
Yeah.
Each piece of information could act as a tiny piece in a much larger puzzles.
Ooh.
Yeah, researchers are already racing to save and archive thousands of TikToks, Telegram messages, and social media posts in formats that can be used as evidence. Ooh. Then they talk a little bit about, they kind of had this interesting paragraph about they have 600 spies, Russian spies on this. But, we probably already knew everything about them. But it's kind of nice to, confirm and corroborate the info you've got. Because that was my thing, was like, you know what? You're really not gaining this information and releasing it to give to, like, U.S. intelligence or UK intelligence or something. Like an official source or an official authority that could do anything about it. They're making it available to everyone.
Yeah, what are they hoping to accomplish here? Do they want some kind of grassroots movement, uprising, hunt down? Like, what do they expect here? Some rogue nationalist or NATOist, loyal NATOist, going after these guys. Let's find out these evil Russian agents. Let's go slaughter them. Like some kind of weird crusade hit list or something.
Right, because exactly the right question. What is the purpose of releasing all these things to the public and not just keeping them within some sort of official
some
capacity?
Intelligence,
Because like you said, you are either, and this is why doxing is illegal, is because it puts people directly in danger, whether it's, an ex-girlfriend or something and you dox her online or something, or an investigative journalist investigating whatever. It's a very dangerous thing to do. And so in that way, you're right. It could be looked at as like putting a hit on these people. Because that's why doxing is illegal. It's because it's dangerous. It puts people's lives at risk in a lot of different ways, not just being alive, but the connections with their families and their everything is at risk. But I think the more effective part of this, and what we've seen the sort of allies, the Ukrainian allies do for a while now, is a constant and effective psychological operation against Putin specifically, but playing out on anybody who works for Putin is what puts the pressure on Putin himself. So a lot of it is a very powerful psychological operation, meaning if you are an individual working in the FSB, or you're an individual soldier and you're there just following the orders or whatever, and suddenly you're not just a nameless soldier, you're not just a secret intelligence agent, but you are a person of public interest with your name and everything about you.
In a situation where, you
might be a war criminal
in the eyes of the public, the way you're being painted as horrible people that are killing innocent Ukrainians and children, and it's just the whole deal. So
it's a very effective way to lower morale. I mean, you think of the morale of these soldiers or the spies, where before you were just serving your country and doing your duty, boom, your entire life is out on the internet for anybody to see. Might go a long way to changing your decision making and how far you go in participating in Russia's war.
The virtual panopticon, monitoring your own behavior. That is the ultimate goal here with these people.
Exactly. So, yes. No, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly the articulation of it, which is it's a militarization of the panopticon. Whereas before this, mostly all the data gathering and privacy concerns were sort of profit motive for corporations. But now those data leaks, the privacy concerns, are used as a weapon, not just against you personally, but against your country. It's almost as if you are like a hostage. It's like a hostage situation. Yeah, now, real quick, we can wrap it up. I think we understand the concept here. But we saw that Facebook was used as, a weapon, a battlefield where this PSYOP was perpetrated. Not even just PSYOP, but perhaps, mercenary job application or something.
Yeah.
So Facebook being one of them, you got Zuckerberg now sort of actively involved in putting people's lives in danger, although that's what he does on a daily basis. So, I'm going to read through this.
That's kind of what Facebook was made for, without really giving it away. Yeah.
And it's not just Facebook. Google blocked access to a PDF of Ukraine's alleged lists of Russian troops in Bucha because the file violated its policies against the publication of people's private information. Asked about the decision to block the document, Google declined to comment further.
Oh my God. What if Google runs with the China-Russia alliance, and then all of our Gmail data goes, all of it, Google, everything goes to... And then we're stuck with Bill Gates, because Bill Gates is out there really pumping all of his business, to the whatever foreign countries will buy in, probably for this picking of teams going on for World War III.
And that's what it comes down to.
Can you imagine if we lose Google to China? Oh my gosh, we're done. We're all going to die.
So they not only in this concept of your sort of NBA team picking situation, not only are we splitting up teams by nations and continents even,
more importantly,
we are exactly more importantly, more effectively, and more dangerously for all of us, we are sort of seeing in an unofficial manner the picking of teams by our global lizard corporations who are in certain ways significantly more powerful and have much more to offer either side of this new world order 2.0. So you have Facebook who has done it multiple times now. They allow hate speech against Russians. They allow all sorts of
seems to be
stuff. They just full on just allow doxing of thousands of people.
Man, we're on the wrong. We're on the wrong team, Basil.
But you have Google coming in.
We're stuck with Zuckerberg.
Google protect. I mean, I don't want to be on either one of their teams.
I don't either, but Google, just geographically where I live, man, you get associated. This is the problem with living anywhere in the world now.
So who do you choose? You choose Facebook, who's actively promoting hate against Russians, or Google, who's actively protecting Russians from being doxxed. It's just a very interesting time, man. And more than anything, the significance should not be lost on anyone. This is the full-on warfare being played out on these, up until recently, a lot of people considered the power that Google and Facebook had as sort of just like a playful thing to be stressed out about. But you have Google and Facebook actively participating in warfare, in the New World Order 2.0 warfare, which we'll see more of in the future.
You got to keep in mind that the New World Order warfare, World War III here, it's not only technocratic, but more and more the sort of geographical location of each important node soldier in this cyber kind of war, the geographic location is less relevant. So you might have people living in the US that are, kind of, we agree with Google, and then by proxy, you're sort of supporting the China-Russia alliance kind of thing within the US and spreading that message and stuff. So it's
made it so much more complicated.
It's way more complicated. The landscape, the battlefield itself is digital. So
yeah, and that's the thing. We used to think of sort of online digital world as a fake world, disconnected from reality. And in this case, these quote unquote fake disconnected spaces are actively playing a hand in geopolitical warfare, possibly World War III, and possibly a nuclear incident. I mean, we don't know yet. We're praying against that. There's no way of really locking that down. But the fact is that they're involving themselves in ways we would have never expected a corporation to do. Well, I won't say that.
Never. But I mean, they're sort of
corporations wouldn't.
They're coming to their own. They're coming of age.
That's true. The power is different though, because you have IBM creating, counting systems for Nazis and Ford selling vehicles to the Axis powers. That's one thing.
Well, you get like ISIS driving Toyotas and stuff. It's all part of the whole.
But the power, when we talk about the panopticon, the technocracy, all the things, the power that Facebook and Google have it's basically the nuclear bomb of corporations getting involved in war.
Yeah, it's the network effect is what it's called, right? The ability to reach a mass hive of people very quickly.
And control information. I mean, you talk about control of information during war. These guys, again, the nuclear option of information control. And with that, Gonz, I think it's time to, speaking of the nuclear option of information warfare, I think it's time for a WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the CanaryCry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
I love it so much. All right. Well, it's true. It's true. I don't know if you've figured this out yet, folks, but it is Wednesday, my dudes. And, I don't know. You have anything personal? Is any interesting puff pieces about Gonz you want to bring up?
No, I you know what? I didn't know where to fit it, but I want to let everybody know that I did receive the article by the BBC and other outlets, the microchip implants that lets you pay with your hand. And my inbox was filled with links to this article. So yes, we know about this. This is old technology. It's just back in the public. There's some
back
authors
in the news cycle.
Yeah, trying to really desensitize the public, at least in this article, the BBC one. So yes, I'm aware. I mean, maybe we can do a full deeper breakdown, but it felt kind of like we've talked about this quite a bit. I think our audience would know sort of the response, but
however, it is our responsibility to stay updated, see if there's any new information. So first of all, thank you for sending it to us. We love it when people send us things, even if it's the same thing. It's a good metric on what people are also grabbing people's attention. So those interest, and we will definitely stay on it. And we have a lot of new listeners now, Gonz, so we probably should break it down in the context of the Canaryverse. Yeah. But we'll need to dedicate more time to that. So I don't have much of an update. My only update is I did go and see Everything Everywhere All at Once again. Oh, wow. Okay. Did it again. Yes, is just as good the second time. And I had a funny little funny little moment. Okay, so I've already given my breakdown. Again, I'm not endorsing the film. It's filled with all sorts of wonderful things to deconstruct as far as, occult symbology and things like that. But as a film, a standalone film, a piece of art, I still consider it a masterpiece. However, I was sitting next to somebody. I will say, the time slots, I don't know, the showings of this film are more, the showtimes. The theaters are more packed than any film I have seen since the pandemic started. A lot of people seeing it. So, and I was thinking like, wow, this is kind of a weird film to like be so popular. And the guy next to me, when it was all over, I heard him turn to whoever he was with and he said, "This is nothing like The Matrix." And I was like,
what?
Yeah.
Somebody told him that it's just like The Matrix? Or?
No, he said, "This is nothing. I don't get." He says, "What did I just watch?
Oh,
this
they
is
didn't
nothing
understand
like
what they were saying.
They didn't get it." And somebody, if you've seen the film, there are, I think I don't know if I even said it. Did I say it on the air that it is sort of as important as The Matrix? Because I have
something like that. Yeah,
I've said it at least in.
I've heard people talk about the comparisons. It's like kind of the modern Matrix, which is crazy to think, but the Matrix is 20-something years old now.
And you got to be specific about in what way.
Right.
The in what way is the sort of
multiverse
effective communication of a cosmology. In the Matrix, the cosmology was, this is all an illusion and there's another world that we can, get out of the illusion.
The real world, yeah.
Right. And in this one, similarly impactful cosmological communication in that, there's lots of universes and in a way, you're in them all the time, everywhere at once, blah, 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 which is not a new idea, but a fun thing they've done and how they expressed it. So I will say, I do think it is as important as The Matrix as far as the cultural acceptance it will probably lead to a multiverse theory as a working day-to-day cosmology for people in a similar way that The Matrix did. And this guy being like, "This is nothing like The Matrix." I just thought to myself, this guy did not understand The Matrix and does not understand this film if you do not see the connections. So anyways, there you go. I still recommend people see it. I have a whole sort of longer analysis of this multiverse idea becoming sort of the new version of a secular spiritual cosmology that I think is all wrapped up in a lot of the trends that we've been seeing.
Oh, it serves the metaverse wonderfully. Be whatever, do whatever, redo things, go back in time, whatever. Anything you can imagine, you can do, which is what the Tower of Babel was stopped for.
I think it's a very important moment in pop culture that is going to reverberate for a while. Now, this multiverse thing is not new, but this really made it personal instead of like, oh, Iron Man is going to another universe or whatever.
Right.
This has brought it down to earth, and I think people are going to connect with it very well. And of course, lots of details. You'll watch it and you'll be like, wow, Basil from another universe did make this film. What a strange thing. And with that, I think it's time to thank some of our executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, folks. No corporate money whatsoever. No advertisements, affiliate codes, no partnerships with anything whatsoever. We are floating off in the deep waters of independent news and only afloat with the support of our producers. And if you get value from anything we do, you have the personal responsibility, I believe, to do what you can to support independent media. Because without the support of the people, the corporations would just love the tentacled monster, would love to wrap its little tentacles around us and drag it under. But today is not that day because of our producers coming in to support the show. And we want to thank our executive producers here at the top so they know how much we appreciate them. And a great day, Gonz. We have 3 executive producers that we're going to thank right now, starting with Redbeard.
Redbeard.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. And we got a great note from Redbeard, and we'll do that later. But we also have another executive producer, and that is executive producer Felicia D.
Felicia D, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And one last one, we got executive producer Sarah L.
Sarah L.
Isn't that great?
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
Feels great, man.
Yeah, it's a big day. Thank you.
To feel the support and to it's been a rough couple of months as far as the value for value model. Yeah. And we understand, but this is a nice win. We needed a win and we appreciate it. So one more time, thank you very much to our executive producers for coming in, keeping the show afloat. Redbeard, Felicia D, and Sarah L. We will be thanking you more in our first break. But until then, I don't know. Think outside.
Where'd you find this?
I'll just jingle save you.
That's good. Jingle. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you
we're
good?
Behind, yeah, we're kind of behind on time.
We're moving
now,
fast.
You took like 15 minutes talking about it.
Okay, settle down, mister. That's okay. We'll get going. Go to Flippy. Do it fast.
Flippy. Here we go.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, Flippy update. If you don't know, Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today's a short one, folks, and you're going to love it. Metro.co.uk, the headline, Driverless car pulled over by police. Speeds off when cop tries to open door. It's just a matter of time, Gonz.
Have you seen the video?
No.
Oh, it's great. So, yeah, I mean...
I just read the article.
Yeah, the headline and the story, I guess, will suffice. But I'll just play the video in the background with no sound as you run through it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cops... and hold on. Chapstick break. Okay, here we go. Cops in San Francisco were baffled when they tried to pull over a car and found no one in the driver's seat. An Instagram video from last weekend shows police officers pulling over an autonomous vehicle belonging to Cruise, a self-driving taxi service. The video then shows the officers walking around the driverless vehicle trying to open its doors with no luck. When the police try to stop it, the Chevy Bolt takes off, seemingly for a quick getaway, but parks a few yards away after the next intersection with its hazard lights on. The police officers pull up behind the driverless taxi and presumably try to figure out how to turn its headlights back on. A spokesperson for Cruise confirmed that the SFPD pulled over the vehicle for not having its headlights on and that the issue had since been fixed. Quote, "We work closely with the SFPD on how to interact with our vehicles," which is a weird thing to say, including a dedicated phone number for them to call in situations like this. It's a helpline. It's a helpline for cops, Gonz.
Yeah.
According to Cruise, the car behaved as expected. In a tweet, the company clarified that the car was not fleeing the police, but pulling over to the nearest safer location for the traffic stop.
But they know better than the police what a safer location is, huh?
Exactly.
I see.
Yeah. While a human driver could get into trouble with the cops for doing something like that, it's hard to penalize a car with no driver. And that's the moment, Gonz, the moment that this article recognizes what we've been talking about for years. Oh, my gosh, years and years, which is the personhood of robots. How do you punish a robot that puts people in danger, breaks the law, et cetera, et cetera? Well, I mean, it's nice to have a helpline, a customer service line for the cops.
Yeah.
But this brings up a lot of interesting, I think, policy concerns.
That's what I was going to say. This is a great, I mean, it's almost like you got people watching, videotaping. It's almost if you're going to say that it's on purpose, they could stage this.
They couldn't have planned it any better.
Yes.
We'll say that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, very useful for any kind of legislative thing. But also, the other theory that I have is that our very own Ghosternaut is actually driving the car, but is a ghost, so you can't see him.
That's quite possible. Yeah. And he's, Ghosternaut has some sort of Illuminati connection with robots and lizard people. He might know something we don't.
Yeah, and plus the other sort of circumstantial thing going on. The new location where it parks is right in front of Venus Cafe. And of course, Venus, the goddess of fertility, with Babylonian origins. So
well, there you go. There. That's about it. Again, just something to pay attention to. We are eagerly awaiting to see. I think this is an opportunity not just for policy changes, policy propaganda, but also, how do you police bots? How do you police robos?
The personhood of robots. If it's a person, you can charge it.
So you're gonna have the personhood of robots coming into policy, and maybe you can't have a human police officer policing robots. Maybe you need a RoboCop to police the robots.
That's true.
There's some things there. And that's it for your Flippy update for today, Gonz.
Flippy 1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
A long jingle.
Exterminate.
Very long outro jingle.
Might need to tighten it up a little bit, but it's a good outro.
Yeah. Well, go to CanaryCry.Party in your browser.
Party time.
Find the live stream, find clips, email list, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, ways to connect with other Canarians, and how to become a producer.
It's the place you wanna be. So say welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. And also go check out Ravel. We explore society, scripture, and scandal with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates and myself. New episode will be posting today, but plenty of great episodes for you to check out on all your podcast players as well as YouTube. But there's two Ravels, remember. Mine's the one with the cooler logo, and it's got my name on it. So check it out. Enjoy it very much. I know you will. While you're at it, subscribe to the Canary Cry Clips channel if you want shareable, careable, bite-sized pieces of the show. The information is good. The information is there, and it's easily shareable, easily reconsumable, just a bunch of nonsense words to say. Go subscribe to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odysee. And of course, get your text message alerts. I saw a lot of people coming in late today because they didn't get their notification from Twitch or YouTube or whatever. Yes, it's a very common shadow banning technique, but if you sign up for our text alerts, you will never miss a show. All you got to do is text the word canary to the phone number that is on your screen. I don't have it in front of me. Oh no, what is it?
877-740-3226.
Yeah, do it again, Gonz.
877-740-3226. I feel like a radio disc jockey. All right, come call us.
I'm weird. I'm just realizing a lot of the services we use had changed their logo to red and blue Ukraine colors.
Oh,
a lot of them are changing away.
Why red and blue?
All right, yellow and blue.
Oh, okay.
I say red. Yeah.
Russia-Ukraine hybrid?
Yeah, no, yellow and blue. And I'm noticing a lot of them are changing it back.
Oh, it's over.
I wonder if they know something we don't.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it, Gonz. What do you got?
Do we have a jingle for gun control?
I'm sure we do, but I'm guessing you did not find it.
No. Well, I don't know that. Maybe we've had somebody send it in, but it didn't stick.
I remember. Well, we just haven't done a whole lot of gun controls. I do know specifically someone sent one in, but it would be pretty deep in the pile. Okay. We haven't pulled it out in a long time.
Well, in its place, I suppose we can just do
Armageddon's on the way.
And
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
So yeah, I've noticed an uptick of shootings. There was a Sacramento shooting recently, and you can kind of tell they're starting to get that. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I'm sorry. Just because if there's any jinglers out there, I think this is one we're going to need to have on hand.
Yeah.
So a gun control jingle would be sick, something cool. What popped into my mind was, what was it? Paper Planes. You remember that that Sri Lankan rapper woman who was very popular in, 8 years ago?
No.
No, all I want to do is pow, 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 pow. Ching, take your money, something like that. But get Biden in there talking about controlling guns and stuff. MIA, Mia, MIA. Yeah, MIA. There you go, jinglers. Have fun.
Okay, there you go. Well, what about this? Close enough. Okay, so yes, there was a lot of gun control, or not gun control. There was the Biden thing. There's a lot there. But yesterday, there was something that broke out in Brooklyn. And I have ESPN here reporting on it.
Story this morning, at least 5 people were shot and several others injured in a Brooklyn subway just a little more than 2 miles from the Barclays Center, where the Nets are scheduled to host the Cavs at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. A suspect wearing a construction vest and a gas mask fled, and there was some sort of explosion. The police have found no active devices.
Some sort of explosion? And I haven't heard much about the explosion after the fact, but we had Times Square's, I don't know, it's pretty far away from Brooklyn, right?
But I have no idea.
I think it's not too super close. I think there's anyway.
I mean, the whole island is tiny.
Yeah, It's pretty close proximity. But yeah, a lot of weird underground stuff going on, and another shooting, several injured, and all happening very close proximity to the arena, Barclays Center, where the New Jersey Nets were hosting an NBA game. It was a play-in game, so it's like the early playoff thing last night. And so, and of course, the Nets being the team with Kyrie Irving, the flat earther who pushed back against the vaccine mandates and stuff. So there's a lot of interesting things wrapped up in all this politically or in terms of control narratives. But also, there's another part of this report from Nick Friedel, who said, the whole mind control thing, the psyop of being afraid. New York, you're walking around. Brooklyn, you're walking around. You got to be scared.
I think it was really interesting listening to Goran Dragic. He, like everybody else,
Goran Dragic is another player for the New Jersey Nets, Brooklyn Nets.
Couldn't believe what he was saying, what he was hearing, and what he was seeing in the building. Because in the building, you're hearing all the helicopters go by. You're hearing the alerts off the cell phones popping up all over to stay out of the area. And as Dragic said, he's like, "Look, I've been taking the subway a lot since he got to New York City in the last couple months." He said, "I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon." So a very scary setting as the Nets prepare for what is a very big game for them, obviously, tonight.
Shooting. People got shot, but sports ball must continue. And, it's crazy. They a half a block or a block away a few blocks away from the arena, there's a shooting, like almost a mass shooting. And then that night you get 20,000 people into the building. That's kind of insane. Right. But there's a couple different little wrinkles here that screams control narrative, elite control, lizard people, fingerprints. And so there's a couple articles here. Here's a USA Today article. New York PD, NYPD seek public's help in search for Brooklyn shooting suspect. Survivor shot in the leg speaks out. Live update. So it's a situation where it's still breaking. There's some footage that is out there as well, where there's people sort of exiting a train, and there's some commotion. There's some smoke going on. Hard to tell exactly at what point this is in the whole thing, but let's read through a little bit here because there's a part that's interesting. Blah blah blah. Let me just get through to the. Police officials identified James. This is one of the guys that was shot. The shooter donned a gas mask before setting off 2 smoke grenades and opening fire while still on the train, police said. The gunman fired 33 times with a Glock 17 9mm semi-handgun, which was also found in the subway, said Chief of Detectives James Essig said. Let me fix your typos there. There you go. 33 shots.
Yeah, 33 shots.
What are the chances?
Uh-huh.
What are the chances?
You know what I love about this? Is this the one they were talking about? He had a ghost gun? Or was that a different shooting that literally happened yesterday?
No. See, that's what I'm saying. There's been a lot of shootings recently, and I think it's all part of the political narrative to rile up the gun control, because you need talking points going into the elections.
Well, 2 days ago, Biden announces rule making ghost guns illegal as part of a comprehensive gun control thing.
Well, he's doing it again. He did it last year
too. He's sort of, this pops up about once a year. He starts making these speeches. 2 days ago, he makes his speech about gun control and ghost guns. The next day, there's a ghost gun shooting, and the day after that, there's another, shooting event. And it reminded me. Remember Biden's bridge collapsing speech, and then the next day,
while he's
bridge
visiting,
collapses
to the location he's visiting.
Just happens to have a bridge collapse like a block away from where he was going to be giving a speech the next day, the day after he talks about our bridges are collapsing. We need to build back better.
He made the speech, blow up the bridge before he gets here.
He does. This seems to be, as far as if you consider the providence of Joe Biden's political career, where he makes a statement, makes a speech, the very next day the thing happens to make his speech more relevant than ever. This has happened at least twice when it comes to tragedies, and he's just a very lucky guy, apparently.
Yeah.
Wink.
Well, to wrap up this story here from the subway, praying for everybody that was actually hurt, make sure they're safe and everything. But
of course,
the game went on. The Brooklyn Nets did win. Kyrie Irving did play. Remember the whole mandate was lifted.
He's allowed to play.
He's allowed to play at home. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the mayor said entertainers can be unvaccinated now.
Right. So it's the end. The Nets are ahead. It's towards the end of the game, and Kyrie Irving has 32 points, and he gets fouled, and he has 2 free throws. Okay, which means each free throw is worth 1 point. Right. So he makes the first one, and he's at 33 points, and I'm like, no way, come on. But then he makes the next one and he scored 34 points. So he's a rebel. He's a rebel. He's fighting back. He was anti-vax. Now he's anti-establishment once again. Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he could not have left it at 33.
No.
That would go against his whole thing.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say he obviously missed on purpose or something.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah. So there you go. It's 33 popping up again, which is always kind of.
Of course, there have been lots of connections and analysis of the Brooklyn shooting and the other shooting. It's actually been kind of hard to track these.
There's a Sacramento thing that happened.
Right, because there's so many happening at once. It's hard just when you're browsing the news to figure out, what weird connections are connected to which shooting. But there's definitely been some sort of theories about the FBI cycle. The
6-week cycle, 6 month cycle.
What's been termed as the 6-week cycle. I don't know if that's exactly accurate on the timing, but there's some interesting breakdowns of sort of federal connections, FBI connections,
especially
to these guys.
The Whitmer case came out, right? There's all that the trial going on when basically the people that were paying attention knew, like, hey, this is all FBI, almost like an entrapment situation for the 2 main suspects or whatever. And all that is coming out now, and they're like, oh, shoot. Well, while that all comes out, let's get busy, taking care of some
wonderful distraction
with guns, So anyway.
Yep. And, as far as the news is concerned, people were getting kind of bored of Zelensky asking for guns every day, stuff like that. So they had to spice it up just a bit.
Zelensky, we got our own problems over here.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about, or you talk about the the series of events, the order of events of Zelensky at the start of the war was just handing out crates full of guns to whoever wanted to walk up and pick it up on the street. And then there was some gang violence with those guns that they were supposed to be defending their country with. But now everybody has guns, so things are going a little bonkers.
Yeah.
And then he's asking for more and more guns, which are, again, sort of just being handed out to civilian military participants.
You know, the mind control, the messing with the mind is really interesting here too, because you have all these sort of liberal progressive types that are like, support Ukraine, and Zelensky's like, we need more guns.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, hooray, yeah, send them guns. And then at the same time, they're like,
don't give us
gun control.
guns.
Yeah, gun control.
Americans don't
we got to get rid of guns.
Yeah.
They're horrible. They kill people. It's like the cognitive dissonance. They're really piling it into a certain segment of the population here. So
it works. It's worked for a very long time, and it will continue to work. Keep them confused, folks.
Well, this is fun. Bitcoin go to moon. Basil, why don't you read this one? This one, you're a Bitcoin investor, as am I. You know, we don't disclose the
I don't consider myself an
Bitcoin
investor
that we own in our treasury.
Investor is a pretty strong word.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Maybe enthusiast. This is coming from thesun.com. Money Mind. Psychopaths and sadists are drawn to Bitcoin investing. Scientists reveal.
Hey,
how dare you call me a Bitcoin investor, Gonz? That is hilarious. You talk about the sort of economic propaganda to support this new world order with CBDCs and central banks making their own cryptocurrency. If you have Bitcoin, you're a psychopath and a sadist. All right. A team of experts recently surveyed more than 500 people to uncover personality traits that are common among crypto nuts. They identified that investors exhibit signs of the dark tetrad. Oh, my gosh. A group of 4 unsavory traits made up of narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism. In plain English, that means dark tetrads have an inflated sense of self-importance and derive pleasure from the pain of others. They also find it difficult to empathize with others and are sly and manipulative. Scientists at Queensland University of Technology described their findings in research published in the journal Personality and Individual Differences earlier this month. They asked 566 people.
The 100 people didn't show up to the survey. Yeah.
Yeah, to complete personality surveys as well as answers questions about their attitudes to crypto. If the participants, 1 in 4 reported they owned crypto, and 2/3 showed an interest in crypto investing. All 4 dark tetrad traits correlated with an affinity for investing, each for their own reasons. I love it. Just investing in general.
Just investing, yeah.
According to the researchers, dark tetrads are partly drawn to crypto because they are prepared to take risks.
Oh.
Okay. Wow, that's a pretty loose connection, but okay. And then it kind of goes into more. Was there kind of takes a stab at explaining Bitcoin and stuff.
No. The quote from Dr. D. Wang is great.
Fake name, not a real doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commenting on the digital is D Wang. Okay. He wrote in the conversation, quote, dark tetrad traits are dark because of their evil qualities. Extreme selfishness and taking advantage of others without empathy. The dark tetrad are also often related to risk-taking behaviors. Horrible risk takers.
This doesn't sound like a scientist, man. That's not really how. Like
Dr. Wang said it, man. You must listen to Dr. Wang.
I am D. Wang, and let me tell you about the evil proclivities. Yeah, so we've seen this type of social engineering projects before, trying to connect Bitcoin people with antisocial behavior, antisocial ideation, stuff like that. And this is just a wonderful piece of another brick in the wall of, the culture war of people who are drawn to independence and disconnection,
sovereignty, things like that.
From a corrupt system, who don't want their whole futures controlled by the whims of a few central banks who are primarily interested in their own well-being and not that of others. So if you're like that and you don't want some big daddy government controlling, your future and every aspect of your life, then you're a psychopath and a sadist and a narcissist, and you're just a bad person. You probably voted for Trump.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting when you see what other headlines are. You have the Bank of International Settlements publishing something here.
Of course they're involved. The Bank of International Settlements is the sort of main bank involved in what's the word?
Like legislation, like allowing, what's just ethical.
Kind of but specifically transactions, like moving money from one place to another, which they are directly at risk with cryptocurrency because you don't need a middleman to move it around.
Right. Yes. So and they're specifically the central support system of the central banks of the world. So they're kind of the central bank of central banks is how it's been described.
Right.
But they published an article on their website, the BIS.org, Central Bank Digital Currencies, a new tool in the Financial Inclusion Toolkit. It's like, okay. They're just saying it now.
Financial Inclusion Toolkit. Okay.
Which is interesting because financial inclusion, it's the same people. The Bank of International Settlements and central banks are the ones that have made it so that certain people cannot participate in financial anything. But now they're hey, CBDC.
They want. Right. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Just a couple other things. Celsius Network bans non-accredited investors from earning crypto rewards starting on April 15th. Which is a bummer. They're really locking down on some of these crypto companies that are trying to, break down the banking system. It's finally happening. And then also big news, Forbes, BlackRock's newest investment paves the way for digital assets on Wall Street. And it says here that 5 years ago, BlackRock's chairman Larry Fink famously called Bitcoin an, quote, index of money laundering. In the years since, the world's largest asset manager, tending some $10 trillion in client funds, has largely stayed away from digital assets. So when Fink wrote in his annual letter to shareholders published in late March that the havoc caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine could accelerate the adoption of digital currencies, many interpreted it as a sign of the financial behemoth is finally warming up to crypto. Now, BlackRock will become the primary cash reserves manager of USD coin, USDC. Woo!
Wow,
a $50 billion digital asset pegged to the value of the US dollar. It takes on this role as part of the $400 million funding round announced yesterday by Boston-based Circle, one of the primary issuers of USDC, following the raise with additional participation from Fidelity, and then a few other places here. So, yeah.
Fidelity being the ESG sort of Titan. They're the kind of the main ESG index providers. Now there's others, but they were kind of the first.
So I think, and this can get really messy and confusing and whatever, but I think there's not going to be like one CBDC, at least in the US, at least not initially. I think they're going to launch a bunch. The Treasury is releasing their digital dollar. BlackRock now has their hand in USDC, which was built with the help of the guy who was used to be at Coinbase, and then he was in the seat as the comptroller of the currency for a year. And so anyway,
just real quick for those who might need a refresher, USDC is a cryptocurrency, but it's always worth $1. It never changes.
Yeah,
and it's mostly the whole purpose that it was created for was you can. Like instead of buying or selling or moving money from like Bitcoin to Ethereum, like if you want to sell your Bitcoin and buy Ethereum or something, originally you would have to sell your Bitcoin, get US dollars, which is a taxable event, and then, spend it again, give it to somebody else to get your Ethereum. And it's this whole hassle. And USDC was primarily created just to be able to move value from one coin or another other without having to go back.
You can stay
into
in
fiat
crypto.
Currency.
It's still a taxable event, but it's you can just keep it in crypto. It's much faster to trade in and out of stuff. And I mean, big traders.
It cuts down on the complication and the time it takes to move crypto around.
Right. And it was originally built on Ethereum, and I think you can build it on any blockchain. So that's one of the things you got to keep in mind with the supply. There's a lot of different projects out there that are doing
it's interoperable for the most part, or at least that was the idea.
Yeah. So I mean, we can get into stable coins, and I can ramble on about stuff for a while.
I think that's good. Just if people didn't know why it was important.
Right. But in terms of it's interesting. The economy. This is part of the Great Reset, the economic reset, and it'll be interesting to see how everything in terms of crypto falls in place, especially because when China kicked out all their miners last year in the context of World War III, it seems like I don't even know. Like it's too many layers to go down. But even in the West, they're sort of dividing the people between the freedom fighters and the people that are good citizens that'll use the CBDC. So it's very interesting.
One of the scariest parts of this is you basically have a competition to become the Federal Reserve of cryptocurrency.
Right.
Federal Reserve being they print the money, they handle the money, they do it all. It's them. They are like the company, by the way, a corporation, not a government agency, that controls the physical actual currency. And that's kind of what you have this competition going on now. And BlackRock, one of the most evil hedge funds, capital giants in the world, a beast, if you will, who is, devouring regular
property
people by
the
day. And controlling the world's everything. I mean, they have their fingers in everything. They are, vying to become sort of the crypto version of the Federal Reserve, which is just a terrifying prospect.
That's terrifying. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Well, there you go. Let's. You ready for a quick break here?
Yeah, I was gonna say if we're gonna try to compete with BlackRock to become some sort of financial behemoth. Value for value is the only way to go.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Feels like we have
all right, folks.
The value for value right now feels like bringing a pistol to a nuclear arms fight or something. It
feels good, man. We don't have to. We're also not ruining lives at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
we get to make lives better.
We're trying to fight back with what we can.
And with that, folks, I want to tell you about the value for value model. No advertisements, no affiliate codes, no corporate money whatsoever, no BlackRock funding, nothing. We are entirely funded by you, dear listener.
No finky dinky here.
That's right. Larry Fink is, as of now, in the same boat as Elon as not being producers of the show. So it feels good to be excluded from that group, dear producer. But yes, we decided long ago that advertising not only is not an effective way for us to communicate our message, but indeed is a trap that is laid by the evil lizard corporations in order to harness the power of independent media and take control of the message. We've seen it over and over again. If someone claims to be independent news, independent media, but you see that their financial well-being is wrapped up in the obedience to advertising companies, they inevitably are become dependent and become pawns of whatever sort of corporate shillery program is available. What are you laughing at?
Let me tell you what corporate shillery looks like real quick. This is breaking right now. Meta, Facebook's Meta, they're going to charge 47.5% of creator fees to anything that's sold in their metaverse, in Meta. That's what they came out with. 47.5%.
That's funny. And it's even funnier because of the warfare of these big corporations, the Silicon Valley corporations. The reason he's having to do such a high number is because Facebook's advertising wing is bleeding. They're not doing very well. And why are they bleeding? Is because Apple and Google have denied Facebook the ability to harvest your data. You know, the same thing that the Ukrainian government released on all those Russian spies and soldiers. That stuff.
It makes me think that they're really ready to just let Facebook die and Meta die.
Zuckerberg had his earnings call just the other day and was trying to explain to investors, you know, hey, the metaverse is the future, man. And that's when we got that article.
It's the future.
That's when we got that article about the shareholders who were angry at his dystopian ideas. He's scrambling to get, you know, they lost $230 billion in February. And they're scrambling to maintain this title of captain of industry. And in order to do that, he's going to create, you know, everything everywhere all the time. The metaverse,
y'all.
Cosmology, but all you got to do is give him 50% of everything you can sell.
Just give us half.
Pretty good deal. Anyways,
less than half.
We don't do that here, folks. We're on the value for value model where we, the people, must come together to defend the very idea of independent media. If your media is playing advertisements, they are under the thumb of advertisers needing to maintain brand friendliness and talk about some things, don't talk about other things, or else lose your funding. But here, it's all about you, dear producers. If you get value from the show, you can put value back in. It's the only way that this little boat we have called independent media can survive. And with that, we want to thank some producers. They came in and produced the show in many ways, your time, your talent, or your treasure. And you can go on over to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right, and we're going to start off with thanking some of our executive producers.
Executive producers.
Executive producers are our heroes, the knights in shining armor who come in and participate in the value for value model. They've received a lot of value, and they come in to carry quite the heavy load for us, and we're so thankful. Starting with executive producer Redbeard. And Redbeard came in with $210 plus fees. Woo! Thank you very much, Redbeard.
Thank you, Redbeard.
And there's a note, just so everybody know. This is Austin D here, who also executive produced a few episodes ago. He says, Austin D here, hereby known as Redbeard. Thank you very much, Redbeard. I was planning on donating Monday, but we had our third child, our second son, on Monday. So we were obviously quite busy. Yeah, no kidding. Hope this helps during the economic hardship I know everyone is feeling. Demooch me, baby. Thank you very much, Redbeard. So happy to demooch you, and congratulations. My goodness, we need a baby jingle. So many of our producers are having babies, man.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Fighting back against the Illuminati. Having babies is a great way to do it.
Is waging war against the depopulation agenda.
Indeed. Thanks again, Redbeard. It really means a lot to us. Next up, we have executive producer Felicia D.
Thank you, Felicia D.
Thank you, Felicia D. And Felicia D came in with a nice round number. And for those who don't know, we always lean towards anonymity. So if you are okay with us reading your amount on the air, all you got to do is give us a little signal, throw a little strange number in there, something that's just not a nice round number. Adding 33 cents is a comical way to do it. But if you keep it nice and round, we'll keep it anonymous. And that's what I'm doing for Felicia D. Thank you so much, Felicia D.
Thank you, Felicia D.
And last but not least, we've got executive producer Sarah L.
Thank you, Sarah L.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Sarah L., who also came in with a nice round number that we appreciate very, very much. Sarah L. has, produced certainly multiple times before. I think quite a few times before. And it's always wonderful to have you coming back. Thank you very much, Sarah L.
Thank you very much.
I did not see a note or anything for either Felicia or Sarah L. But there you go. We're grateful anywho.
All right. You know what we need to do?
Where'd you find this?
We didn't do it for each one. Should we play it 2 more times?
Yeah. Say their name proudly, Gonz, and play them the jingle.
Okay, so that was for Redbeard. This one's for Felicia D.
Where'd you find this?
And of course, Sarah L.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, executive producers.
All right. Thank you. Okay, why don't you? I'll just tell everybody about the supply drop real quick. We got an update.
Okay.
CanaryCry.Supply.com is a wonderful place where you can join our collection of producers who are committing $33.33 a month, and in return, they will be receiving 4 packages every year. That's 1 package per quarter, and access to our Canary Cry NFTs and digital assets, all sorts of fun stuff. Again, all for free as a big old thank you for committing $33.33 a month to keep the show going. The monthly producers have gone, oh my gosh, a long, long way to keeping us alive, especially recently with everything crazy going on. We really appreciate it. Go to CanaryCry.Supply.com to join up and feel the wave.
Waiting for supply drop.
That's right. And just as a heads up, we had some delays that were things outside of our control, but the supply drop is on the way. You'll be receiving an email in the next couple of days for our supply droppers.
Fun.
All right. And we've got and Gonz, you've got the NFT lesson coming out soon.
Yep.
All right. Then let's keep moving. We're going to thank the rest of our producers. We got producers coming out our ears here, and we're very grateful, starting with producer Estimating 1, Discovering 3.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, they're back. Actually, Gonz, and if you check the email, we've got a piece of art that came in. Estimating 1, Discovering 3 came in for $72. Thank you very much. The Passover Lamb, this is a note, the Passover Lamb is the atonement for every man and all 72 nations. May every tribe and every tongue praise the Lord. Estimating 1, Discovering 3. Art and Gmail. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, I'm looking at the art here. We'll share that during the art segment.
Indeed. Next up, we've got producer Kathleen G.
Thank you, Kathleen G.
Kathleen G comes in for $77.77 plus fees. That's a fanny pack full of 7s, baby.
All right.
Next up, we've got producer Emily H.
This is for Kathleen G. Thank you. And Emily H. Here you go. Thank you.
There you go. There we go. Thank you very much, Emily H. Emily H. comes in for $33.33 plus fees. Illuminatus.
Thank you, Emily H.
Thank you. And I did not receive, you know what? I'll just say it again. I have a hard time keeping track of if people are, knights and dames and things like that. If you are, please, or if you have an alternate name you'd like to be known as when we thank you, please put it in the notes to PayPal. I try to remember, but I can't do them all. Next up, we've got producer Benjamin S.
Benjamin S, thank you.
Yeah, nice round number. Benjamin S. came in actually at the end of last episode and sent a note here. Last minute, thanks for everything. Thank you for everything, Benjamin S.
Thank you, Benjamin S. Appreciate that.
Indeed. Next up, we've got Lady Chrome.
Lady
Chrome is in the house. She's back, coming in for 11 plus. And Lady Chrome says, it's Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Okay, yeah.
What, are we doing a different one?
I think we're doing one of the W step ones.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday.
Love it. Next up. Oh, no, this is a note. The note continues. Sometimes I'm Holly and sometimes I'm Lady Chrome. Sorry to be confusing. Pain in the butt. Thank you for all you do, sassy Basil and funny Gonz.
Thank you, Lady
Thanks,
Chrome.
Lady Chrome. Yes, okay, that makes sense. Lady Chrome came in as Holly, like last episode or the one before that. Thank you very much. I'll try to remember that. But again, put it in your note if you can. Next up, we've got producer Morv on a 76 episode streak.
Morv.
That's right. 11 and 11 plus fees, and comes in with a note that says, "It's Wednesday, my dudes."
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
Oh, Cody.
Was that dog
involved
on your side?
Yeah, it's
Cody.
Cody.
Getting the World Eater is here.
he's
Thank
here.
you, Cody, for your
contribution. Yes,
addition.
Thank
you. Thank you, Morv. Next up, we've got Sir
Thanks,
JC Knight of the.
Sorry,
Sir JC Knight of the Techno Squatch
Sir
on a
JC.
91 episode streak. Oh my gosh.
91. Woo.
Yeah.
1001. Amen.
Amen, indeed. And Sir JC comes in with 1001 and says, "It's WMD."
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
I always forget that there are so many different versions. He says, "Wednesday banger mashup, please."
Okay.
I wanted the mashup. You want to throw him some more?
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. Time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
There you go.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir JC.
Sir JC. He keeps going. He says, "Your discussion regarding Afrofuturism and Antarctica made me think of the impact movies like District 9 and Chappie had on the masses."
That's right. Both of them. Well,
definitely.
South Africa for Chappie.
South Africa.
And District 9, I think, was in Africa somewhere, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that concept of the gateway city.
Right.
Yes. Even in this case, sort of a gateway into the future of culture, perhaps.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sir JC. Next
Sir
up,
JC.
we've got producer bot LX Protocol V2.
Thank you, LX Protocol V2.
And I have been desperately searching for his. He came in just now, so I need to find his streak. But he is on his streak.
Sorry.
Wow, what was that?
That was
like
an
4 simultaneous
explosion of jingles is what that was.
Yes.
That was the delayed mashup.
Okay.
Sorry
You're welcome,
about that.
More. LX Protocol V2, I believe, is on a 19 episode streak, which means did we play?
I think we did play, because I remember playing
play.
Supernova for him last episode. So
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So yes, he's on 19 episodes in a row. Thank you very much. And he has a note. He says, "It's WMD. Keep up the good work."
Thank you. Oh, which one should we do?
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
So good. All right. Last but not least in this category, we have Sir Scott Knight of Truth on a 132 episode streak.
Thank you so much.
Ooh.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight. In there?
Yeah, sorry. Hold on. There's a lot of people coming in during the show, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we
figure
started
this out
early.
here. Yeah. We're throwing Sir Casey in there. Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, comes in. He's on a 142 episode streak.
140. He is the streak.
He is the streak. Okay, that concludes our list of producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But we got a few more people to thank here, and I'm going to do it right now, no matter what you say about it, Gonz. Starting off with producer Jackie U on a 47-episode streak.
Thank you, Jackie U.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Next, we got the Streak Sisters, Veronica D on a 108-episode streak.
Veronica D.
Yeah! Women rule!
Keep one in the chamber, Gonz, because we got Gail M on a 108-episode streak.
Gail M.
Women rule!
We got, Runk Smash on a 21-episode streak, which means he gets the 21-gun salute.
Partner.
That could be the gun control jingle, or at least ISO out the gunshot.
Yeah, that would be something for sure. Yeah. Okay, last but not least, we got Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Line of Judah on a 76-episode streak.
One away from perfection.
Yeah, he gets 77 next episode. Thank you, Sir James. And thank you to all of our financial producers. I believe that concludes the list. Again, a nice win considering how difficult things have been recently. We're very grateful and also very personally proud of each and every producer who has the understanding that independent media can only be funded independently, and if not, then that's a big problem. So thank you very much. It takes courage, it takes generosity, it takes so many good qualities to become a producer, or just to support things that bring you value and do not take advantage of your mind, your trust and attention to monetize your consciousness for our own personal gain. And we appreciate it. Thank you very much for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message.
Beep. Go to CanaryCryNewsTalk.com. There's a green tab on the right-hand side or the bottom. Click on that. You can leave us a voice message just right there on the website. It's awesome. And I think we had a couple come in, Gonz.
Yep. This one is from Rochelle.
Hello, fellow Canarians. I just want to encourage you all. We serve an amazing God, one who is outside of our time, proving that very fact to us through prophecy. No other entity can do that. I have a little reality check. Jesus fulfilled hundreds of prophecies in his first coming. Oh boy. Have you checked your reality with the one who fulfills prophecy from Nazareth to Galilee, the house of bread as a baby? He was betrayed for the price of a slave. He spent 3 days in the grave. They cast lots for his kingly robe. Psalm 22, his dying words foretold. As written, there's not a bone broken. And both his hands have a hole in. Before they pierced his side, upon a donkey he ride. Among the sinners he died. God bless you all. Stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you so much.
God bless you, Rochelle. Thank you very much. Very sweet.
Yeah, very cool. I love it. It just puts me in this ease of mind, you know? Just really calms me down. Thank you very much, Rochelle. We also got one from Southern Truth Spit. Spitter.
Hey, Gonz, for being such a smart guy, I can't believe you're still there in California, man. You better get out of there. Also, dudes, don't you know the dinosaurs are fake? Have your listeners research the Bone Wars, man. Come on, y'all need to wake up. It's 2022.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good. Have we taken a strong stance on dinosaurs? I don't remember. Did we
I don't
say
know.
something about dinosaurs recently?
I don't know. Anytime we mention it, I'm sure it's there's context that we're not aware of that triggers some truthers types. That,
truther types. Those crazy truther types.
The narrative. So
who knows? Well, that's the thing with dinosaurs. They just keep changing the science, man. Come on now.
Goalposts keep moving. Thank you very much, Southern Truth Spitter. And yes, I remain in California to attempt to get the gospel into the hearts and minds.
Also not on purpose. You have lots of things there.
Yeah, there's lots of yes.
You could if you would.
Lord willing.
Would. Okay.
All right, one more here from Paulie the Gambino again.
Hey, Paulie here once again. I listened to Monday's show. I didn't hear any voice messages. Come on, people. We got a lot of followers here. I'll make this short. I also heard you need a 144 producer jingle. So here's mine. I'm going to leave some pauses in it. So if you want to use it, it's pretty good. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. 144 in a row. Bada boom, bada bing. You made it. Good job. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da. There you go. You like that? I hope you do. It's right from the heart. Listen, I'll talk to you later. Don't look me up.
All right.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, that is the current contender for the 144th Street jingle. So if nothing else comes in, that's what you're getting, Sir Casey.
I like how Sir Casey, 144 episodes in a row, this crazy journey, and then you come across Paulie the Gambinos.
That's a good clip, though. So if nobody's gotten to work on a 144 jingle, that's a good start. Just take that, chop it up, do something fun. Yeah. Or we'll just play that straight up. I mean, hello. All right. That concludes our voice messages, I believe. Again, go to CanaryCry.Newstalk.com and just click the tab, man. You can't not do it. It's cool. All right. We're about to wake up, and that means that you YouTubers are going to need to find a different place to watch the rest of the broadcast. Sorry. We love you.
It's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay,
it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Twitch, Rumble, Odysee, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, you can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well. Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
And
yeah, that's right.
We'll see you later, YouTube.
Bye-bye.